Hello everyone, it's me. Hello everyone, it's Tuesday. Without dwelling too much, oh whoops. Without dwelling too much, I've got a lot of work to do. And I've got a lot of ideas that I want to work on. I've been a busy little bee. I've been writing a shit ton. I've been writing more than drawing actually. Most of that has been here, though I've been doing a little bit of map design as well. It's been busy. It certainly has been busy. I've been working really hard on getting everything I can, like, kind of starting to work up as far as, like, everything that I want to, like, work on. Because mainly, the goal, the kind of pipeline I'm thinking of is get kind of a general idea for certain elements, and then asset-wise, the main assets I actually need to make are kind of character portraits, portraits, mock-ups, standings, whatever you will call them, and creatures. Same for creatures and backgrounds. I really need to make backgrounds. Backgrounds, I think, are the thing that are going to be something I want the most, like, spread work on, which will be interesting. Uh, I think the backgrounds are going to be, namely, the thing I should get done first for any given thing, I think. Um, but they should be productioned in. So, welcome to the stream, everyone. I'm your host, Isaac MCCanary. I'm gonna just get done what I can get done. The most important things are gonna be running the damn game at some point, but a lot of this is to kind of give me context and just have fun doing and pushing my ability to do some concept art. For a project that I've thought about for a really long time now. Like, this is a project that I've had in mind for a while. For a while. Um, it is something that I have arguably worked on since 2017. I started it in 2017. I can't. I'd get in trouble. I can't. Silos, they'd get mad at me. Hello, Silos. Oops. We're going to start off with, I want to do a couple of different helmet designs. Um, we're going to try a couple of different things. First helmet design I want to work on. First off, I need to look up, and hopefully it's working today. Yep, it's working today. Don't know why. So I do have a design, like one helmet design. I can also change this a little bit because it's like got like a hat on it. I'm gonna say, out the hat. It's kind of like, something like this. See, it's funny you bring that up. Uh, I have decided, for better or for better, I probably will remove some of the earlier design philosophy I had with the creatures. I did originally design the creatures that a lot of them were actually completely nude, and that was something of an element that I worked in like kind of the alteration, is that what was altered and what wasn't, and a lot of them still had their bits. A lot of them still had their bits, but not in a, like, wasn't supposed to be like in a, even like a upsettingly horny way. It was just like they just didn't have clothes. It was maybe a little bit there to be like, ooh, naked, scary. But like it wasn't supposed to be like much more than that. Actually, it was just supposed to be a way to kind of like put into perspective a little bit of that loss of, like, being transformed like that made them lose some perception of humanity. But it wasn't supposed to be like, obviously, it wasn't supposed to be horny, and it wasn't depicted to be such. But for better, I think. I think I will err away from that. So you will notice a lot of the creature design will probably have pants or nothing at all. Say that they didn't need it. Which could be its own kind of like upsetting bit of horror to be like, this. Actually, yeah, no. The zipper would go all the way to the other side. So this is without the hat. I'm going to say that this, I like to imagine that this helmet is like, it's more like a latex mask. It's more like a latex mask that fits over the head is kind of what I like to imagine that this helmet is. And that these are like some kind of like rebreathers that can scrub air if they're enabled. Actually, we will do a little bit. So here's something. I need to open up my books. I need to open up one of my books. And I need to look at, because the thing is I am going to rules as written use assets first that are in the book, and then when I can't find something, I will make it myself. But if it is in the book, I will use what's in the book. Hey, if they don't have pants, they don't have anything. Just know that. Twitch wouldn't like it. You've seen what happened. The one time I drew nudity, once, I got banned for 24 hours just for drawing a tit. Just for drawing a tit. It wasn't even a sexy tit. It was just a tit. Well, rip. I will never be able to make it, I guess. I'm pretty sure I'm so goddamn, I'm pretty sure I'm so goddamn blacklisted on the internet at this point that it'll take some slight miracles. But it's not that big of a deal to me. As long as I can still keep doing stuff, that's what matters. So here's the thing. Okay, includes air filter. I got that covered. Extreme heat and cold protection will say, like, even if this is like latex, even if it isn't like reinforced, it's got like padding and stuff on the inside to help with that. Maybe also like some of this down here. Like that. Give him cool guy goggles. Give him like a couple of stitches. Stitching up here. Because again, this is not a reinforced mask necessarily. This is just like, and then like this zipper on the top, like it zips all the way back when it's closed, and this also gets pressurized. So like you have like, you know, this collar area down here that pressurizes with the rest of the outfit. So it's got temperature resistance, extreme heat and cold, hydration reclamation, 1 liter of water lost per day, lasts 4 days. Interesting. Oh wait, no, this is for hazard suit. I need the vac suit. So it includes short range comms, a headlamp, and we'll say like there's a couple ways that headlamps can be applied. I'm a big fan of more of like the shoulder lamp, personally. Also just a big old mag light. Let me look up a mag light real fast. It's literally just a mag light that's been attached to the shoulder. I personally like shoulder mounted for a couple of reasons. I think that flashlights work better when there's a little bit of a sense of loss of control with them. So like they provide light, but they don't provide perfect light. Like if you turn your head in any direction, like if you have it directly attached to your head, it's a little too convenient. I like it when the design of a light mechanism can be contextualized as being a little bit inconvenient, right? Like it's not perfect. I like the idea when a light or something can be a little bit unreliable, if that makes sense. Here we go. Let me go ahead and check. Oh no, I know headlamps are real. I just am gonna say they're too convenient. Trust me, I had a headlamp. It's like the most useful thing ever. I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm saying I don't want them. There's a difference. This is the thing. This is the thing that you always got to remember that if I just don't want something, I could just say I just don't want it. It's just, that's the aesthetic, right? That's the decision making of being able to decide your own aesthetic is being able to say like, even if it's a real or even if it makes sense, if I just don't want it, I can still say nah. I can still just say nah. And I think that kind of like creative diction, like being able to make those kind of creative choices, really does a lot to be able to contextualize just even what an individual will think is like good or cool. Because that's part of the thing. I don't want this to just be like all functional. Part of this is I'm making decisions because I think they're cool, or I think they'd be interesting, or I think that this would be something that I just think I'd like. And I like mag lights, and I like shoulder mounts over head mounts. This is just I think shoulder mounts are cooler, and I think they have like a little bit more. Um, they just got a little bit more of the kind of restriction I'm looking for. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah, mag lights just here has pipe that goes off of it, but something like that. And then there's like no bulb there. I also just think mag lights are cool. I think mag lights are the coolest shit. I don't know why. I think it's because a mag light feels like you could on one hand, it feels like the like ultimate flashlight of you get a pretty good amount of like light, but also if you needed to, you could hit somebody over the head with it. Leon. Leon. Calm down. They feel like they'd be very good as a sort of self-defense object that you could very easily just bean somebody over the head with. They got heft to them. What? Yeah. Bigger. Why? Why are you being so... Why? Freaking out. I don't know why. Okay. So vac suits, and I need to base this on specifically vac suits. And for vac suits, and the idea that I have is like your jumpsuit doubles as half of the vac suit, right? Like everyone has the jumpsuit because everybody is expected to be in space. But if you have a vac suit, it means you also have the helmet and everything that goes with it to be able to do vac suit stuff. But generally speaking, everybody has the jumpsuits because it's expected that even if you don't have a vac suit yourself, you will find the parts to be able to complete it into a vac suit at some point. The jumpsuit might be standard attire, but by itself, it can't keep you safe in space. But combined with the parts that will make it space safe, it is completely safe to use in space. Okay, so short range comms. So probably some kind of like something like that. Just like almost like some built-in. Some built-in comms device of some kind. I like really like slicked down design. I don't like super bulky stuff. Even if like something is described as like super obnoxious or bulky, I still like the idea that like it's like contained. I don't like super chunk. It's just not my kind of vibe. Right? Let's see. Short range comm, headlamp, and radiation shielding. Decompression within 1d5 rounds of punctured. Okay, yeah. Man, that's gonna be weird. Again, I'm getting closer to the month. I think like probably when September comes around, I'll reveal what the game is. Uh, that said, one it runs off of a D10 system, which is fine, or technically a D100 system, but obviously also D10s, and it works in a D20 every now and then, which is fine. But it works off of a D100 system, and they mentioned D5s, and I think D5s are weird. I might need to see if they have specific rulings, but I find that like as far as D5s are concerned, is my understanding to be that they roll and then have it, I guess? Or is it like 1 to 2 is 1, 3 to 4 is 2? That's, yeah. I actually am like, is a 5 not a 5? Is it 1 and 6 is 1, 2 and yeah, I have no idea. I'm guessing it's just halved, right? It's just got to be halves rounded up, right? So like if somebody gets a 9, it's a 5, but if they get a 10, it's a 5, right? Like that's got to be it, right? If they ask for a D5, because obviously a D5 is just a D10 cut in half somehow. Okay. This is like one design idea I have. Say this in my tool. Using my tool. Using my tools. Look at that, guys. Interesting. Might be. I mean, this is actually maybe one of the most useful things I've ever done for myself regarding trying to do a cross section. And I mean, it makes sense. What's funny is I learned this from geology, believe it or not. What I'm doing right now is a geology thing. Makes sense. I need to use my ruler more. I need to use my ruler more, is the answer. This goes on. got? So we've got like... Mm-hmm. I try to. Sometimes I think I had a period of time where I was trying to really push my ability to like do things. And here's the thing that I have to say about things like a ruler and stuff. Like it's always going to be coming down to application. It's always going to come down to application because really, really you should be cognizant of like how something can like help you out and stuff like that. You really should pay attention to that kind of thing, as I am sometimes not always best at. I make mistakes. But if I want to do like stuff like this, like using the ruler there to kind of like get a better idea of like where certain things is the only way I was going to be able to do this. And again, the idea I have behind this is that it's like what anyone is wearing in this setting, what people are wearing in this setting is largely like the standard issue. Like it's not a helmet. This is not a helmet. This is not a helmet. This is just a way to keep the air inside. It is a glorified space scuba suit. It's a scuba diver's suit made for space. It takes everything that a scuba diver has and then makes it space proof. Which, I mean, practically speaking, makes sense. And it is like a way to kind of like take like your modern kind of like design, modern kind of like space integration, right? Like and be able to utilize things that have like already solved problems essentially, to take an already solved problem and then just apply it into space, and then you just have that modification. And it works really well for the setting as well, since a lot of the setting is going to be exploring a lot of things regarding like how sometimes the advance into space wasn't made safely, it was made practically. They had problems, so they found solutions, and those solutions worked not because they were going to be the safest solutions, but because they were the most practical solutions. They were the solutions that got results quickly and and cost effectively. That's an important part. Is a lot of that is going to come at an expense of the individuals using these kinds of things. And that's not to say that there's no future tech or that future tech won't exist at all, but like a large portion of it is kind of maybe like add a little bit of blast shielding. They need it. Well, I like the idea of that. So like you have this here, if need be. Yeah. Have this. It can kind of be like forced down to block the eyes if need be, because that's the thing that you might need for space. So I still like stuff like that. Actually, go all the way across though. That kind of thing. And the idea here is this is not a lot of the stuff I'm making in this in a lot of this is actually not individualized. So this is like just a helmet. Like really anyone, even the other players could have a helmet that looks like this. And I want to design a like variety of helmets that would make sense for the kind of character that they would be. This would be like a standard worker's helmet almost. Your standard issue. Almost like just standard civilian hat. This is a hat. This is a civilian hat. Or maybe an operator hat or something. So like very minimal, just gets the job done. Doesn't describe anything else about like the kind of like work conditions or the character that wears it. Something very, 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 very standard. You can't tell, I also just like helmet design. I'm going to design helmets because I like helmet design. This will hook up a bit. It's like a little visor. It's like a little visor that drops down in front. Actually, a little bit far. A little bit farther. It's just a little bit of facial protection. They don't want your face to be like blown off or anything. They want you to protect your face. You need that to do work. You can't do work if you don't have a face. You don't have eyes. Then we're going to around. There we go. I don't want to stick on this too long. Make this a little bit bigger so that way it sticks out a little bit more. And it's like it doubles, right? It's like both a communications device and it's how you hear outside. So you've got some like auditory hearing. I wouldn't have any reason to know why that is like. Haha. I mean, my head. I broke the veil a little bit. My headphones literally have the ability to turn on and off ambient sound, so I could imagine that that's like just a thing that they can do. Yeah, kind of like that. I like that profile a lot too. Still, huh? I do find it interesting how I managed to do that. 'Cause, like, how does it feel like? Why does it feel like somehow I managed to? I'm gonna look at my Stop working. What, finish this? Absolutely not. That's the thing is, like, there's no finishing this before October. What I am doing is I'm doing a smash. I I'm doing what? Huh. Oh, that thought. I cannot read today. My brain is fine, I swear. Apparently not. No. I don't remember what the thought was. Late. Goodbye. I don't know what's going on. I'm sure I'm fine. I'm sure I'm fine. I don't know what you're talking about. Make sure. Yeah. Maybe a little bit more, but yeah. That's like perfect, actually. So that's one helmet design, right? I also want to work on, say, so I'm not a big fan of the big bubble one, but I'll give it a shot. If we're gonna base it off a big, okay, so if I want a big bubble, my go-to for a big bubble, and it's still gonna have like a shielded visor. I like visors that you can't see into personally. My favorite my favorite like kind of bubble helmet design genuinely is the EVA design of Halo's EVA helmets. They're my favorite helmet design. And that's the kind of design I'd like. Because the reason why is like, yeah, it's got that big bubble, sure, but I like how like sleek it is. And I also like that you can't see into it. I don't know, I just like a helmet design that you cannot see inside of. That's what I prefer. We're going to do something like that. So it's got this one will be pretty easy. So this will like be more of a generalized EVA. So like this one is maybe more designed for like kind of space. The top one is designed for like kind of a mix of space and in a hazardous environment. But that's just aesthetic wise. It'll still work as a vac suit helmet. It doesn't gain anything for being the shape that it is. It just kind of describes the kind of work that that kind of person would do. So this would be like somebody who does more like outer EVA stuff, right? And I do think I would like that it's like completely smooth. Couple highlights. Get used to hearing this, yay! It actually won't appear in the game, don't worry. I don't think I'd use this. And more like that. Go with. So that goes around to the back. And same thing, it's got kind of like this almost. There we go. By the way, if you don't know what this is, it is. I mean, it's a specific song, obviously, that's sourced for the game, but this is the playlists I've been using for inspiration are just the good old Silent Hill and Signalis. Those are the ones that I've been playing a lot. I'm really glad that I did end up playing Signalis. That has played a huge part into kind of informing my writing a little bit better. One of the things that Signalis does very well that I also picked up more from my most subsequent viewing of Alien that I'll probably watch at least twice more before the time comes. I'm going to do something a little bit aspirational because we were watching a thing for those who haven't seen it, who haven't seen or have never heard of it somehow. I highly recommend the Dropout. It is quite good. A game changer. A game changer is quite good. And there was a game changer that we watched recently that had it was like pretty much a "Do you want to be a millionaire?" kind of thing for a very cool and important person who is on Dropout. For Jacob Wojcicki. I don't know his last name. I'm sorry, Jacob. I do not know your last name. I just don't know it. I just don't know it. I'm sorry, bud. But for him, they like threw a thing, and apparently the lad was doing something for a podcast, and he listened to he not listened to he had playing for apparently like 72 hours straight because it was for Fight Club. He played Fight Club for 72 hours straight, apparently. That was something that he did. Freaking crazy person. So I guess I got some aspirations. I'm probably going to watch, we've already watched one Inspiration. We actually watched Tremors again recently. Or I watched Tremors again, and my friends watched Tremors. I swear I watched Tremors with Sean fairly recently, but he swears that he hasn't seen it since he was a kid. Uh, and then Jackson apparently never had seen Tremors before? That surprised me. To me, Tremors is the kind of thing that whether you liked it or hated it, everyone saw it. I would have thought everyone would have saw it, not because you needed to, but because it was just such a common TV thing. It was such a common movie on TV. Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it played on AMC every single week for forever. Like once a week, it would play. Well, maybe not once a week, but it would come and go fairly regularly. They probably still play it on AMC, probably. Like, and it's good. It's a good movie. And it's going to actually influence an element of the game that was not an original consideration of the game, which is its sense of humor. I do want there to be a sense of humor in this playthrough. The original one was a little bit more serious, maybe even a little edgy, but it certainly was more serious. It did not have a sense of humor. And this time around, whilst I don't want it to go full Evil Dead, I definitely want there to be at least a sense of humor and a dark sense of humor amongst the characters playing. And I really want to go the Alien, the Tremors route, especially the Tremors route, because I think this is more so for Tremors than the original Alien, though the original Alien, the comparison goes, is you become very attached to those characters because they are very charismatic. The original cast of Alien, a little bit less so than Tremors, is a bunch of just general kind of like down to earth guys who do have a sense of humor, and when things aren't tense, are cracking jokes and like being just general, like relatable everyday folk. And then Tremors, the sense of humor of that movie, though there is a sense of humor in the creature design, the creature isn't necessarily that funny. Like the creature doesn't do anything that funny. The creature is genuinely like honestly, in my opinion, like a good creature design. People make fun of like a big worm, and I'm like, but it's kind of a cool big worm. He's a pretty cool big worm. He's one of my favorite cool big worms, in my opinion. So, I love the creature design of Tremors, but the comedy horror element of Tremors, because I still think Tremors is very much like a comedy thriller horror movie, is that the jokes come directly from the characters. The characters themselves are the biggest goofballs you'll ever meet. And like for me, they are like throughout the entire film cracking jokes and making as light of the situation as they can, both because that's the kind of people they are, and also because of the way that they're written, that the way that they respond to things is to be incredibly like snarky in a entertaining way. So like that for me, Tremors as a comedy horror works because the characters themselves are comedic. They are comedic. They have comedic responses to things. They have comedic behaviors, but the situation they're in is not comedic at any time. They bring the comedy into the situation rather than making rather than a comedic situation with a horror to it, which Evil Dead kind of does. That I love, but I don't think if we do any Evil Dead kind of style gags, they will be rare. They are not going to be the focus. The focus, if there's any sense of humor in the game, is going to purely be the characters making light of a situation that is still tense and scary and like intense, but the characters themselves are going to be more lighthearted. I don't think I'll have quite as many soul crushing characters like I did before. Though even then, back in the day, if I remember correctly, when they finally met like a larger cast of people, I tried to still make characters that were like down on their luck due to the situation, but weren't not characters, if that makes sense. Like I still made them be characters as best as I could. All right, guideline. Make some guideline. Place it on the left side. Right side. Okay. This one. This is something I just need to do more in general, I think. Make my guidelines so my shit be a bit more symmetrical. Symmetrical can be hard. Symmetrical can actually be very, very difficult in my experience. And I'm not going to be able to perfectly make it symmetrical, but that's not the goal. I want it to be perfectly symmetrical. But I do want to be more symmetrical. I find that I get a very lopsided look sometimes because I get a little bit lazy with certain things. That's why I'm like, I need to use the ruler more, because the ruler will help keep a lot more symmetry where I actually need it. Seal here. Right? Put like a seal here. And I think the dome will go like almost to the back. It'll be if I put the guideline here. Put here. I want to say go we go true. Oops. This. Got there. So the bubble goes up. Comes around. That there. This goes around. Up there. Right? Got like guy up here. This is working so much better. Noted. I do my sketch, and then once I start getting like general shapes and sizes of things, like if I start on one side, I use the ruler to get the other side. Look at me, being a real artist. Did it. This will go like way around the back, and I want to, so like this dome, actual like visor part, goes up as far back as it can, and then this follows behind. like that, right? Like this is all glass. So this is all glass. I actually now I like this design quite a bit. Like this is the kind of like helmet design that I like. If it's one of them globes. If you're talking about the classic fishbowl hat, you're talking about the classic fishbowl back suit hat. This is the look I want. Yeah, because it still feels like congruous. Sealed. Like that. And there these up like a guy here. You have tubing all the way up. And like that. Yeah, I really like the way that looks. I like that hat a lot, actually. Tracing some of these guidelines here. And here's the thing, like, I can erase some of these guidelines, but really, this is just to get an idea, and then I could maybe do a little bit of detail work, but, like, this would be a second option. This would be a second option for, like, this would be, like, your big kind of, like, is, like, a solid unit helmet. This is the kind of helmet you would use. Um, and this is what it would look like. But it still has the jumpsuit underneath. The jumpsuits are universal. Yeah, I like this design, and I like the way that I like kind of section it out. You should put a visor on the fishbowl. You think it'll look ridiculous? Kind of like, kind of like his. Let's see, like this. Hmm. Well, that's the thing is like that would be the kind of thing that I would add later. This is just imagine that this is I'm designing what it would look like if everything was new. This is like this is the way that it's intended to be used. We'll put it that way. Like this is what it's supposed to look like when nobody makes modifications to it. Got to start with a base. Like that. Yeah, I like that. I like both of those. Two helmet designs. Just getting the generals. Just trying to get the generals. Really, what it comes down to is I'm just trying to get the generals. Just like as an example, the head would be, you wouldn't be able to see the head, but the head would be like right there. But this is like solid. This is opaque. Like this is opaque. Opaque. Here. Opaque. This is opaque. So you can't see it. You can't actually see through it. That's a cool. I like that design. I do like that design a lot. And simple. I'm going for simple. I'm not trying to overcomplicate it, actually. I want it to be simple. I like that design a lot. Like, I wanted to show, like, some of my inspirations. I mean, like, let's look at the helmet from the damn thing. Alien. Pretty similar to the alien back suit as well. Like, that's kind of what the helmet looked like. With a little bit... The helmet from Alien has a little bit more on top. Has a little bit more on top. But it's still that big kind of like bubble. It's got like a wide bubble. I like this thin bubble. I like this like you have a lot of like because again like adding that attachment. I like the idea of that, but the intent of this is that you have like you have as much like visual movement to be able to see around as you can. Like your head isn't restricted. Whereas the opposite, right? Like with the like tight head design, like your face and head and everything, like that all moves with your face. So like it's two different like solutions to the same problem, right? Like the top one gives you it gives you probably a narrower vision, but like that narrow vision follows where your vision is. Whereas the big helmet, you have full vision up to about like set 270 degrees, but like once you hit an end, you can't see past that. So, but it gives you like probably a little bit more head freedom to be able to move your head around, and it's like maybe a little bit different kind of comfort, right? It's trading one comfort for the other. Is kind of the idea I have. Then, I want to try one more. See what this is real fast, I think. And I think, generally speaking, they all have the same. Oh, wait, no. I want to start with the front. I want to start with the front first. Always. Oh, yes. I like this visual motif. Don't know why. Definitely wanted to do that. And I want something very different. Something like this. Now this one, definitely. Want to give it a helmet. Want to give it a hard helmet. Got a hard helmet kind of feature to it. I want it to have this kind of look. Like that. That. Something like that, maybe? Oh, yeah. I like that, actually. Now, this is all opaque. But definitely want it to have that look. So that's all opaque. And this, we're going to have two versions of this, I think. This right here is standard issue design for security forces. This is not military per se. This is for security forces. And I'm making very intentional design choices with this. This is the Space Mall Cop. This is the Space Mall Cop, and they will have to deal with the Space Mall Cops at some point. More angular, I think. Kind of like that. Got. Yeah. I want to make sure this stays as open as possible. Something like that. Antennae. Does that make sense? Does that seem to make sense? Give him like a rebreather right up here in the front. Oh, I know what to do. This one. This kind. This kind. Even that's again, kind of go back to that like feeling that there's like a weird origin in like kind of like scuba dive gear. Like a lot of the first early designs were very, very based on scuba gear. Because what is space but ocean without water? What is space but ocean without water? It is a whole lot of nothing, is what it is. You're right. You're absolutely correct on that. I'm 50-50. If this is more like security force, maybe it's not like a. Maybe it isn't like a solid hat. Maybe it isn't like a whole helmet. Well, yeah, no. Because, like, one of the things I'm definitely going to make very clear is that the future of security is sketchy. Future of security is definitely sketchy. I want that. Yeah, I do think I want it to be a hard hat, like a hard helmet. I'm gonna need it. Trying to make a decision on how exactly I want to handle that. We'll go with what works for now. It's simple. Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I like that. Like it. Like it like that. A little bit of. I like that. I like that quite a bit. And again, it's supposed to be like still an enclosed. This is an enclosed helmet. that? Do I want that is the question. Actually, I like that kind of like asymmetry. Yeah, I actually really like that asymmetry. Just like the top. So I probably should switch gears here in a second. Like, really, one of my goals is to get get things started and then like have it there to be like I should work on a little bit of this while I have some time. And I do want to try to like get a little bit better about that. Hard, difficult. This definitely goes flat up all the way up to the top there. It needs to go to at least here. It'll go down. Yeah, like that. You've got those breathers down there. And this is the helmet. So this is like an enclosed helmet. Smart, smart. Use my brain, use my brain, use my brain. Use my brain. I know it's difficult sometimes, but I gotta do it. It's hard. I don't want to. Now, do I want it sticking straight up, or do I want it kind of sticking out to the side? Because I always like a little bit of like that. A little bit of the like, it's not quite straight up. Like a little bit of tilt to stuff like antennae and stuff. Like that. Something like this, maybe. Then that pressurizes up. Yeah, no, it's like this. So front on, it looks like that, but this bracing bar there. Take. Kind of like that. Got this here. That diver's bit, and then I think this go down here. This go down here. I'm trying to think like how helmets work. Helmets are kind of weird sometimes. Actually, we'll do something like that. So like it'll be a helmet. Close it up. The helmet part, like that-ish. A little bit curve, and then a little bit of a tail there. We got the helmet part, right? Want to get the helmet part as much as possible. Make it clear that it's a helmet. Like I want it to really feel like it's still like this is a solid ceramic helmet. That maybe. Yeah, give it like a tang in the back. Does that look helmet enough? Is that helmety enough? That's helmety enough. Yeah, I like that one a lot. I do like that actually quite a bit. It does. It does, in fact, go on the head. Hmm. That's the problem. This one I didn't plan for that. Yeah. A little bit bigger, but yeah, I like that. Again, try to keep that sort of scuba divey feel to it. I think that'll be the perfect time. Well, not perfect. Not quite perfect. I think I still got a little bit over an hour. Because now I need to switch gears. But there you go. That's 3 helmet designs done in an hour. 3 helmet designs in an hour, honestly, and they got better in my opinion. I feel like that first one is okay. I think that first one is okay. I might come back to it. I might work on it on my own a little bit. I think it's okay. The second one, I really enjoyed drawing that one, and this last one took a little bit more time, I think, overall, but still came out pretty good. I think of these three, actually, the middle one is my favorite. I like how the middle one came out quite a bit, actually. Out of these, the middle one is my favorite. I love how the middle one came out. It looks really good, actually. But I do like the bottom one. I think it gets the idea across. It gets the idea across. Sorry. It does get it across, and I do think that, um, I'm usually not like that. I don't know what that came from. I'm not usually like that. I'm sorry, everybody. Okay. Have a good dinner. Have a good dinner. I'll be going for at least a couple more hours. At least. At least. Moving on. Sorry, I was. Okay. Got this. What do I need to do next? In. Corridor. Do a corridor. Some kind. I have this at the end. Look at me using Snicker. This. I want to give the idea of what this kind of space would look like. That would explain why that wasn't working. Eh, one there. Idea is like really keep it in perspective. That you're inside of a if you're inside of a spaceship, you do not have very much clearance at all. Access is here. just really make it clear that, like, if you're inside a spaceship is not roomy. I get that real nice claustrophobia. Maybe have you got like these kind of crosser round lights. Around here. Up a little bit. Have like a little bit of space. Not much. Like go up in the ceiling. Ceiling doesn't go up that much. This is like a shelf. Like, I want it to feel like you got like a bunch of like ledges and ridges and everything, but it doesn't mean that there's like no space. Very cramped. This right here going that way, you've got your floors here, which are there's like a and I want the idea to be like, what are things that you would normally see inside of a spaceship? Got like a hatch there, got like a door here. I like that. Door has to go all the way down. Maybe. I don't like that. I don't like that. Have like an access panel there. This down here. Like, kind of like a runway thing. Like that. When I say runway, I just mean like fact. The access there. Have this go this way. Have this go like all the way up there. And again, the idea is not that I'm gonna draw the entire. I'm not gonna draw the entire interior of a spaceship. That would take me forever. I'm gonna draw key parts of a spaceship, and that's it. Here's a spaceship hallway. Here's a spaceship cockpit. Here's a spaceship room for lab stuff. Like it's going to be generic, not generic. It's going to be asset first, and it's going to be reusable asset first. So if the environment is a certain way, that's what it's going to be. So this is a hallway. And the hallway is going to have anything that's in this picture is something that I would want to be like, you might be able to find that there. Like, it's something that you could expect to find in a hallway anywhere. Anywhere. On any spaceship, on any terminal, any space station, you would find something like that. I do. Shit. Random shading go. Bullshit shading go. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. Problem is big. Help it all. I'm getting a lot faster at this though. God damn, I feel like I'm getting a lot faster at this. Got something over. Actually, we'll leave it more. I always like the idea of these kind of like space environments feeling like they were not made. I'm 50-50. I get it that when it's like too excessive, when it's like who would likely ever live on this thing, you would stub your toe and lose a pinky every single time. Like I don't want to make it look like it's unlivable, like it's unpleasant, but I definitely want to make it look like it is one of two things. I at least want it to look used. I want it to like look used and worn down, maybe definitely aged. I want an older look for a lot of the stuff here. Another thing I want is I definitely want the feeling that there. Sorry, thinking out loud. I want it to feel like sure, it's not the best. You can be comfortable here, but it's not luxury. You're not living in luxury when you're on a spaceship. That I definitely like the idea of. Boy, I am killing it with these vanishing points. I feel like for once, I'm not. This is not my forte. I'm not. This is not what I'm used to. This is not what I'm comfortable with. I environment design is something I've always wanted to do more of, and I like, and I think is cool, but it's not something I'm like super experienced at. This is not. This is kind of like newish for me. And I think, given the way that this works, I always like. Actually, yeah, no. Hallways lead either into rooms or into other hallways. I'll kill. Get out of here, you. Get out of here, you. Love the lights from Jurassic Park. It's a little homage to the lights at the top. I love those lights. That's why I'm using these, I think, is because I love the lights from Jurassic Park. Actually, like that. Panel here. Plug something in maybe there. Put like a overhead painter for locking. Just add as many details as I can think of. This is something that I want to get better at, is like actually fleshing out an environment as much as possible. Got like a hatch here. Say that, and we'll give it like one of these. So it's like one of those like hatches that has like a kind of like twisty collar here that you lift up the collar, turn it to unhatch it, and then open it up from there. You give it like a couple bars that you do. And again, the idea that I have with this is like this is what a hallway looks like in this setting. You're in a hallway. This is what they generally look like. This is a hallway in this setting. You are on a ship. If you're in a space station, a lot of the hallways look very, very similar. Yeah, I busted this one out fast though. I feel very good about this one. Little panel there. Series pipes and tubes. Ads and bobs. A phone. An emergency phone to call your mom. Scared because the weird creature came out of the wall and ate your best friend. Like just populate the environment. That's what I'm trying to do. Is I'm trying to populate the environment with as much detail as I can think would be in it. Oops. Thank you. Yeah, I need to make this thicker. Here's the thing. I need to like got this here. It's gotta be it's just and even if it's a doorway, even if it's a glass doorway. Yeah. about how that goes. Boy, that's hard to judge. It's like, it would be parallel to it. Like this. We might have to bust out the ruler. We might gotta bust out the ruler here in a second. Actually, no, that's correct. That would be getting, like, looking perspective-wise, like it was getting wider, but the same size. That way. All the way down. Everything a little bit big. I need to move it. Move the box, move the box, move the box. They gotta work together. Something moves, it all's gotta move. Otherwise, it won't make sense. Otherwise, it will not make sense. Hell yeah. Damn, I did that fucking fast. I think this came out really well, really quickly. Like, bam, did it. Just fucking did it. You know what? I like the idea that these are, like, weirdly tiled. Got, like, panels, 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 panels everywhere. Open space, and right before the door, you got another set of panels. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to color this because this was a lot of fun. I can't wait to to paint this one. This one was a lot of fun to make. This really gets you in that mindset of, like, if you're, like, in a hallway, if you're anywhere, pretty much anywhere, it's cramped. You get this sense that there is not space. There is not space in space. And I like that. But it gives you an idea of, like, if you see a hat, like, if you're in a hallway, there's probably an access hatch somewhere. If you're in a hallway and it's like a hallway to some part of the ship, there's probably a terminal there that you can access, like, or something on the wall, or, like, this is supposed to be, like, just a background to give you a sense of the environment that you're in, not the exact environment you're in. That is what I'm going for when I'm making these. And this one came out really damn good. Like, holy shit. I'm getting a lot better at these environments, I feel like just in general, being able to do environment design. Like, this was unprecedented for me, in my opinion. I'm not This is new. This is not something I feel like I'm used to being able to do. Get rid of the shade. It didn't work. Ever. Because it didn't work doesn't mean it was useless. To build up these areas to like really light them and show like, oh hey, this is this and that's that. There. An idea that these are beveled. But those are still beveled. That way your mind still is like, oh, it's still curved. It's still curved. Gotcha. That's what I was kind of lacking. I was like, I feel like I'm missing something to really show that these aren't flat. They're like curved surfaces. And that's what I was missing. Okay, yeah. That goes back there. That. The little handle for whatever the hell this is. Hell yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, that looks good. It looks pretty good. Kind of just give a little bit more context. Yeah. Yeah, I like that so much. Just like I scrunch this guy up. Yeah, I thought about it. I was like, do I want to put people in here as an example? What's funny, I really want to do something like that. I have an idea. Add a little guy. Add a little guy. Add a little guy. Want to make it clear that it's like impossible for his hand to be up there. It would be incredible for that to be up there. Normal, normal sake. Yeah, just for fun. Like just a little Easter egg. I like that because that's probably not gonna do the final version, but I like that as like a little bit of a environment touch. Already almost 5 o'clock. Okay, you know what time that is? This time I want to give myself a little bit more time on this section because I feel like last time I like rushed. I rushed, and again, the goal here is I am going to be I'm going to be adding as many designs as I can. And just really making sure I work in all of the elements I'm like looking for. So like some of the things I want to make a point is like any part that's particularly like heavily modified. You have this kind of like musclier, darker look, but anything that hasn't really been touched still looks relatively untouched. Gives something like this. And I want to have the feeling that like they gain like a degree of flexibility when they are like this. Like these are a much more flexible appendage than normally it would be like. There we go. Give her a t-shirt. Something like that. And I want, sure, I don't know, I like these really dramatic open hands. That they're like they know what a hand is. They know it's for grabbing, but naturally speaking, they want to keep them open so that way if they hit anything, they can close. They can grab as quickly as possible. Kind of like a alligator jaws. They've modified the hands to be more like alligator jaws as far as like how they are used, but they didn't change like, oh, it's a hand's a hand, it does what it does. They just don't have, they didn't give it like more usefulness, if that makes sense. They didn't change what a hand does. They didn't need to. Something like that. How many fingers does a person have? 5? Why do they have 5 fingers? That seems like too many. Why did man get so many fingers for each hand? Didn't they know that would make it difficult to draw? There we go. Like that. Something like that. We're just gonna go with that. That's fine. And I feel like it's important to draw this first every time, so that way I have a reference point, right? Like, okay, this is what the most basic one of these guys is going to look like. What's funny is I should draw as many of these guys as possible because they're going to be the most common thing that my players are going to run into, and they will have the most variance as far as like just individuals will go. There will still be individual versions of them. They will still have slight variance between them. They just have a general anatomy-wise relation. They always have the same general anatomy, but they all have like different they'll have specific different features. But none that are like make them mechanically or functionally different. They'll just have aesthetic differences. Because the reason why I bring that up is there's another design that I'm very fond of. In which I take the same design. I take this design, right? Let's say put that there, here. Do the same thing. I've done it. Now this is a design that I'm particularly fond of. It's because I think it's like a creative concept given the kind of constraints I actually give the entity that causes these kinds of alterations. One of the things I make a point is that the only way is the way that the sort of biological processes work is that upon onset of it, they cannot make any modifications that are not already physically attached to the body. And what that ends up looking like is if there are any parts that are already missing, it has to adapt to those missing parts. And this was one design that I really, really was proud of that I came up with. And if you could tell what the difference is, good, because I'm, I guess, a sick fuck. This is like the second, and they get more specialized in two ways. They get more specialized, we'll do one of each. They get more specialized depending on what's available from the offset, and then what they can find. Because really what I want these creatures to like be is that by themselves, they can only do so much, but they are like kind of a horde entity. And that one of the things that they're doing is trying to like amass a growth of biological material no matter what. And one of the things that they do that is that they can actually alter parts of themselves. If they do alter themselves, is not done through the initial kind of transformation. It's actually done after the fact. It's done when they can find when they can find more material to make changes with. Like that. Originally I had these be like 4 claws, but I think I like it as 3. Like but design wise, like they still share a lot of the same like if it's there, it'll still do like the same kind of thing. If that makes sense. And I will say one of the like main goals that every single one of these does is that they try to make something that can grab and bite and spread infection, and some part of them can defend themselves. Some part of them allows for some locomotion. I originally remember designing some of these. It was like, oh, some of them make like mines, right? Like they sit on a surface and they don't move. But actually, I think I want to make it consistent that one of the goals of this entity is that whatever it infects, it truly animates it. Like it reanimates it. It becomes an independent moving piece of media. And no matter what, one of the main goals is that whatever, however much material there is, if it becomes infected, it tries to find a way to make it modal and mobile. That is the number one thing that it tries to do, is it tries to make it movable and give it the capacity to move on its own. If there are already structures for that, it'll just utilize those structures. I want to give a kind of presence of mind in this entity that it doesn't rework anything it doesn't need to. It actually tries to only redefine things to make up for things that it either thinks it needs, or redefine things that make it more recognizable to itself. I want there to be like a feeling that there's also a transformative element in which that the creature is modifying the visual appearance to look like something it would be more familiar with, but utilizing the material it has to do that. This would be like an idea that I would have. I think I also want to go farther and be like, part of that comes from whatever this entity's origin is, that its kind of biological makeup is one that what it does is normal to it. And what it does is how it operates. Like, it's not doing any of this out of even malice. It's just doing this because this is how it interacts with its environment. This is how it understands its environment. And then we'll get more into, the mystery of all of that. Because that's the one thing, that's one of the things that I like about Alien, that I did always pick up all the way back from the beginning, that makes the alien such a good and compelling creature, even though, as Sean has pointed out, and I had a bit of a chip on my shoulder about this, because like, Alien's a great movie, and he was like, yeah, but it's just kind of a slasher. And I was like, what are you talking about? Slashers are... I do not actually really like care for slashers. It's not my kind of thing a lot of times. There are two slashers that I like: Halloween and Alien. Those are my favorite slashers, and I've seen a couple of others. I like... I can't even remember what it's called. You're Next, I think is what it's called, is You're Next. I remember liking that one. I think slashers are its own thing, and I think slashers at one point for me became kind of a bit of a derogatory term, because for me slashers were things like just movies that were just like schlocky. Schlocky hack and slash, you have a killer, he kills people, and that does not interest me. That is horror, doesn't really interest me. Because for me, horror goes both ways. And Alien works so well for me, much actually like Halloween, is that the alien is a character. The alien is a character. And the thing that they do well with the alien is they make it clear that the alien has goals, and the alien has goals to survive, but the way that it goes about doing it is very different than how the humans do. So they have a conflict of interest. But the alien isn't a slasher because it's like a bloodthirsty creature that wants to kill everything around it because it loves to kill and murder. If anything, it's fighting for its own life, and something about the way that they present the alien really gives you that feeling that it too feels, whilst it is very dangerous and very much like reacts to its environment hostilely, it's reacting to its environment hostilely because it doesn't want to die. Because it wants to survive the situation as much as the people that they're in, and they can't talk it out. There's no way for them to be able to communicate it. To be able to be like, oh, shucks. Oh, geez. Like, it's fundamentally impossible for them to be able to come to that kind of conclusion. But it doesn't mean that the alien itself is trying to kill everybody on the ship because it's having fun. Like, the reason why it's killing everything on the ship is because it is terrified as much as everyone else is. It's the old adage of when you see a spider in the bathroom, it's more scared of you than you are of it, except also the spider is bigger than a man and can kill you. Like that's what I've always gotten away with the takeaway from the alien from Aliens or the alien from the xenomorph. That's what I've always taken away, that the xenomorph is like contextualized really well to be an entity that values self-preservation at any cost and is violent about it. That's the important thing to establish, is that it's very, very violent about it. So even if it's like a typical slasher film, the slasher element is done in the creature is done in service to its own priorities, and that its like killer behavior is justified through a mutual sense of it's either them or us. And that is something that I definitely want to pull into as one element to how this entity kind of interacts with its environment, as well as its own kind of mysteries. I definitely want to explore a couple. I want to design a couple for it that are more than just it's trying to survive too. Um, like trying to like think about it how like I'm coming from a very, I imagine that this is kind of like an infection scenario regarding the spread of this entity. So I want it to be very much like on the surface, the players could probably pick up that it wants two things: to survive and to propagate. And that it goes about doing that. This is the only way that it can go about doing that. Yeah. I love that design though. That kind of creature design is one that I came up with originally in the original version, because the idea would be that I have for a couple of things for the setting, for like character design and character setting and like stakes and whatnot, is that some of the characters are due to the deteriorating condition of the setting of the game and a lot of the people in it. There's a lot of effort to try to cope, whether it is healthy or not, but there is always an effort to cope. And one of the coping mechanisms that some of the individuals caught in this situation found pretty early on is that some of them found that by modifying themselves, they could do specific things to interact with the creatures by from two directions. They can change the creatures and change themselves in a way that would result in different things. Um, as well as just there is a an audio log that I'm always a big fan of that I think is good, if not a little bit edgy. Like in retrospect, is a little bit edgy. But in Dead Space, there's an audio log where you find out that somebody, like, due to the stress of the situation, just ends up giving up. And one of the ways that he does that is he realizes that, like, the only way that the thing though that turns people into things, this is a whole obsession with the limbs and everything. You hear an audio log where somebody essentially cuts off all their limbs, though. I've always listened to that audio log and I've always imagined, like, I hear three shots and I'm like, so what happened? Did he just shoot, like, did he just sever like three of his arms, or three of his arms, two of his legs and an arm, and was just like, well, I got one? Or did he like do two legs at once? Like, that part always, this is weird detail that always bugged me. But essentially I liked that, and I liked the idea of being like, well, maybe it's not so much that the creatures need all of your body mass to infect you, but they can be, if you are infected, they can't change as much of you if there isn't that much of you left to change. Which is why a lot of the design I really want to like illustrate that they are a kind of group of individual, like, of that the sort of like infection reanimation is only as good as what they can actually, quote unquote, get their hands on. Another one that I was kind of fond of And this one's gonna be more Thing-like. And that's the thing, is like I want it to be very I want this to be very The Thing. It's actually I didn't see The Thing until way later. Alien was my first horror movie. Or one of my first horror movies. Um but The Thing I saw way, way later, and The Thing is really, really good. And I actually saw, I played more Dead Space. Dead Space is probably my initial kind of interaction to things like The Thing and stuff like that. Here we go. But when I did finally see The Thing, I really, really liked it. The Thing is one of my favorite horror movies now because it's so. That might be definitely go on the list of like, hey, if I ever need to like look up some material, I should just watch The Thing again. I have only seen it once. I've actually only seen The Thing once. That's not an insult to it. I love John Carpenter. It's very, very good too. I just haven't seen it more than once. Yeah, this was something I kind of remembered. I'm kind of changing it a little bit. The idea is like, oh, they can only use what they have, and for some reason, this guy had a particularly bad time. Smaller ones to show that it's still like the same kind of transformation, but one thing I want to make a point of is that it's particularly consistent. Like it don't change anything that it doesn't that it finds. Like I want to make it kind of like congruous that whatever this entity is that's like causing these terrible reanimated corpses, that they actually are kind of uniform, that they have like set almost like construction plans that they utilize between them that are consistent. Please water later. Yeah, do something like that. Because these guys are kind of the star of the show, I really, really want to fill these pages as quickly as possible with as many different ones that I can. Starting with the ones that I know, starting with the designs that I already know. Because I actually made quite a few. Oh boy, this will be an awful design. It's gonna be a butt. It's just a butt. But I made a butt. These ones are gonna be a little bit different. So I like the idea that like these take like the same kind of idea, but this one doesn't have a head. It can't work with a head, so it's got to figure out ways to move around. It's got to figure out ways to engage with its environment. So whilst it does have some things that it's got like one of these spurs, this is still generally the same. I know how to draw toes. There's the ass end. Stupid. And this is where I'm like, I do want to differentiate myself. I don't just want to make Dead Space designs, and I don't want to just make stereotypical ones. I am really, really trying to be cognizant of like what what would make my creature designs truly unique. And for these creatures, with these creatures, it's that they redefine a lot of the features of whatever thing that they infect when they transform them. 5:30. 5:30. I'm almost at a stopping point. It's kind of now. I'm just kind of messing with it. Now I'm just kind of messing with it. Love the idea of this stupid thing too. We talk about mobility. And this could become important later, actually. Which is why I'm like, I also know how I want to differentiate it. Because one of the big things that I want to be able to do with the creature design in this is like, so one of the things that bugs me about Dead Space a little bit, and this isn't universal. This is not universal to Dead Space, but it is something that slightly bugs me about it. I think Dead Space sometimes it it does a thing where the creature design in it doesn't feel all that scary after a while because you realize that, oh, it's still killable. You just kill every single one. You just kill them all. Kill all the zombies, it's fine. Kill all the necromorphs, it's fine. This, I want to make it a point that subduing one does not kill it easily. You really have to go out of your way to actually completely eliminate one of these as a threat. And that by damaging them, you're not killing them, you can incapacitate them, and you can split them up. But if you split them up, all you do is create a different thing that might become a problem later that might be easier to deal with, but it's not dead. Since the idea here is that this is all inert biological matter. All of these are based in something that no longer has sentience and is completely expired. So the idea is that it's not the amount of matter, or it's not like the necromorph thing where, oh, if it doesn't have any arms, it's not going to turn into a necromorph. This is about whatever it has available to it, it will reanimate to the best of its ability. Ooh, oh yeah, yeah, I like this design. And what are the things it's going to work with human parts? It has muscles, organs, and bones. Those are what it's going to use. Its main use of bones is to make something that it can use to attack or use as a mouth. Bones are for creating weapons for this entity. Muscle is for creating ligaments. It's for creating extensions. Organs are for general purpose other things, like to generate either special effects or senses and things like that. Organs, it might repurpose, or it will repurpose them to usually be something of its own kind of organs that it needs, but it will utilize what it has available to them to make those organs. And one of the big things is that these are not, so they don't have like a stomach. They don't eat, but they do something else that I won't talk about now because it's not what I'm focused on today. But they don't eat. These creatures do not eat, so they don't need a stomach. They don't need organs to do that. So they repurpose those organs for instead things like being able to use them for different kinds of senses, different kinds of ways to interact with the environment, different ways to interact with the players. They use them as organs, but they repurpose them to organs that they actually need. I like that design, that bottom design, because I like the idea that it's when you have just a hand, it's just a hand. It walks around, Evil Dead hand thing. from the Addams family. Like it's just a mobile hand. But this is like an arm. Like this is an arm up to the shoulder that was severed. So what it has is it has more material to work with. So it actually goes for more of a snake thing. It tries to make a snake. Boy, am I gonna have to figure out how to make a human crab. I will. The answer? I might. That might be till next time. This is to give, again, because I want to start sprinkling in a little bit more of the idea of what this is going for, is that this is some kind of biological entity that can rewrite and repurpose biology to what it needs based on needs that it deems necessary. And it does them consistently, actually. It tries to make things generally the same shape. It tries to make things generally about the same as it can, and it utilizes the same or similar structures the same or in similar ways. It doesn't actually, it's not random. It's not completely random. Um, These a little bit bigger, so that way they fill up the space. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. This is what you want to see, right? This is what you freaks want to see, right? Now, I'm enjoying this, and honestly, there is a new design in here. There are two new designs in here that I had not drawn before: the bottom left and the bottom right. Uh, the 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 one on the top right and the one in the middle are actually designs slash redesigns that I'm revisiting. The one on the top right actually had 4 claws instead of 3 on each foot. Originally, I had 4 claws. I just it's fine. I think that looks a little bit better. But generally, that looks the same. Still has the same mouth design. Still has the same body design. Still the same idea that it doesn't that the corpse or the body that it inhabited did not have arms to begin with. It was just imagine a human but no arms. I don't know why that would be important for me. And then the middle one is the idea of they found a body. The reanimated body only had an upper torso. That's it. So what can you do with that? Um, and hopefully the other two make sense. I don't think I did one for just legs. I don't remember doing one. I think I actually thought that was too weird. So I don't think I did one for just legs. And then this one I like as a variant to the hand because like I love the Evil Dead and I love a reanimated hand. I like a hand that just scurries around on its own. It's like a little rat. So I like this as a variant to that, where it's like it's not just a hand. What do you do when you have a little bit more? And that'll become important because, again, like part of the idea that I really like in Dead Space that they don't really explore is the whole idea that the creatures to fight them is you literally have to tear them apart, right? That's like a big part of Dead Space, but it goes from feeling very like desperate, very visceral to very clinical very quickly. And the idea I want in this is these are creatures that are by design come apart. Like they come apart easily. Well, not easily, but they can come apart. And that is an element of it. That's like it's not good for them. They're not going to like that. But it doesn't mean that suddenly you just you blow off all the arms of one of them and it's dead. At best, blowing them apart, tearing them apart, keeps them from being able to move as easily. That's it. That's all it does. Like if you have the top left one, if you tear it apart, the idea is you're tearing it apart to make sure that it is getting to as small and a manageable size as you can, right? But if you like take off an arm and the arm goes completely off, that arm will be scurrying around like an hour later. Like it becomes something new. Um, like that's something that I think is like a missed opportunity from Dead Space because they go down. They don't feel actually particularly hard to kill in Dead Space. The irony is they feel particularly easy to kill. The whole thing that makes Dead Space's enemies cool, but kind of underwhelming for me that I'm like, I want to take that kind of like terror of seeing this kind of like misshapen amalgam of somebody coming at you violently, like incredibly violently. I want to take that and really reinforce that no, it shouldn't feel easy to kill. And that's not an insult to necromorphs. I don't want that to make it sound like I think necromorphs are bad creature design. In fact, I think necromorphs are great. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't think necromorphs were great. I think necromorphs are awesome. I love the Dead Space franchise, and I think it works great as an action horror game. It does. And it works. They work great as an action creature. But as a horror creature, they can feel a little underwhelming because once you realize how actually easy they are to kill, I think that takes away some of what makes them scary. For me, that's for me. Um, like when they're not that difficult to deal with, that takes away what makes them kind of scary. When the whole feeling I think that you're supposed to feel is like you're like really you're meeting their violence with your own level of like kind of like hyper violence, right? Like because the only way you can deal with them is like by tearing them apart. But it doesn't feel like tearing; it feels like you're scalpeling them, um, which is not scary to me. That's not scary to me. And if anything, I want these enemy designs to still feel more like what works with things like Resident Evil. Resident Evil 2's zombies work because of the way that they move and the way that they move around and the kind of like semi-randomity to what actually is effective at killing them. That's something I like about Resident Evil a lot, actually, is that element of being like, you can kill a zombie in that game, but it's never surefire, and it changes from entity to entity. Like, they don't go down easily, and they're moving in erratic and random ways that make it kind of hard to read how they're moving, which I think would have worked well for the whole arm and leg thing, right, with Dead Space, which they kind of do, though it's a little too jerky is the thing. It's jerky, so it's kind of... And also your weapons are designed for doing that, right? Like, the weapons in Dead Space are designed to have a surface area that's good for severing limbs. And that's good game design. It's not good horror design. Well, it's okay horror. I need to make that clear. It's not bad. It's not bad, but I think it could be improved on. That's the important thing to remember here is I think that that kind of creature design could be improved on, and that's what I want to try to do with this is like take my pass at the kind of thing, necromorph kind of thing, and like really distill what I think is cool about a necromorph as a creature and try to give it more complexity than just an enemy mob that you can defeat. I don't want these guys to feel like you can just defeat them. I want to feel like, at best, you can incapacitate them. And in order to truly defeat them, you really have to go to some extreme measures. You really, really, when I, like, that's why it's like the whole, like, stomping mechanic in Dead Space, I think would actually be great if it meant that you had to stomp to make sure, like, because, like, they truly didn't stop. You could have, like, literally blown off all the arms and legs, and then the torso is still like moving around, like jittering or something. I love the idea that the body literally doesn't stop until Isaac Clarke makes it stop. And that's when I'm going with these guys, right? Like, to make it stop, you need to do something to make them stop. You can't just blow them apart. You can't just shoot them. You will incapacitate them that way. They'll be knocked out effectively. They won't be able to operate as well as they did before. But that doesn't mean they're dead. And that's why I like Crimson Heads from Resident Evil, and I like the creature design from Signalis. The idea that you have to make sure something is dead to make it dead in a horror game for me is incredibly important. And that just isn't in Dead Space. It just isn't in Dead Space. Not from my perspective. You don't ever do anything like that. You don't ever go to that extent. You shoot something's arms off and it dies. There's never a question if it's still alive or not. That's something that I want to try to bring with these character designs to feel really inspired by Dead Space, but bring in that element of uncertainty of just because we did our best, do we know if it's dead? And that's what I want to like utilize, like bring into the like creature design and character design. So, all right, I gotta call it. I gotta call it. I'm gonna go hang out with friends here in a bit. So let me do this. Let me reset my setup. Let me reset my setup. We're gonna do one more thing though before we go. Before the end of every stream, I open up, or we're gonna make a prompt together, and then I open up Paint, and I have to draw whatever you guys help me make as a prompt, and then I share it. I share the picture I draw before we raid out. Oh, I didn't post properly the ones from last time. I gotta do that. Guys, don't do this. It's too much. It's too much. It's too much. Too much shit. But if you guys want to participate, all you gotta do is type in chat. Whatever chat says, I'll use as a reference, and then I'll share the image before we raid out. So here, if you didn't see, we'll go back and we'll look at everything of our progress for today. This is what we did. These are the creature designs we made. This is the backdrop that I did. I love this backdrop. I think this backdrop came out great. I think it completely captured the idea that I had in mind of like of what a hallway is going to look like in this, whether it is a spaceship or if it's on the space station or if it's in a fucking dome in the middle of a desert planet. Like, this is what an interior looks like. This is what an interior hallway looks like. And then we did some helmet designs, and I really like the helmet designs I did. I honestly think my favorite one is the second one. I Like I said, I am not a big fan of like super bulky helmets, so I feel like I did a really good job of capturing a helmet, that EVA helmet, that like bubble helmet, without feeling too big, actually. Um, but I like all the helmet designs I did, the helmet and head designs that I did. I'm gonna try to make like a couple more, so that way, and I think I'm gonna make them like model dependent. Like there's not gonna be that much variation, and it's based on like what is that kind of person's job, like what do they do, not what does that person want. A lot of the setting is not about what that person wants. A lot of the setting is about what that person has available to them due to the things that were made, regardless of what they want. There are elements that are outside of their control, and that elements of like the design kind of reflect the idea that what is made, what some part of their outfit and their attire was made for them because of the thing that they do, not because of the person they are. That makes sense. All right. I'm gonna open up, but we're gonna make a prompt. So, trying on my big bubble, trying on my big fishbowl hat. And if you guys want to add to that, I'll give you guys a minute while I open up the things I need to be able to do this. Eventually, we'll probably hear a shift in the music. I thought about this earlier. I was like, if I plan this better, or if I thought about this, I might use some of the music that I'm thinking about using for the actual sessions. We'll see. I haven't decided yet. I don't know if I want to leave those largely anonymous and anonymous. I might use one of them. There's one of them that I have in mind. We'll see, just to be able to mix it up as we get closer. Also, I like to be able to test that kind of stuff. I've been trying out my own playlists for a while now. Well, this is embarrassing. Oh, that's embarrassing. I didn't mean to do that. That's not even what I was embarrassed about. What I'm actually embarrassed about is I really gotta piss. So I'm gonna open up Paint, and then I'm gonna step away. And if you guys say it, add anything to the prompt, I will add it while I'm away. But I gotta piss real fast. Ow. To finish the fucking stream. Alright. Look at it one more time. Trying on my big fishbowl helmet in a long hallway. That's all I wanted to add to it. You know what? That's gonna bug me too much. Fine. Didn't have the right thing. I need to be consistent. Did it. Did it in one. Did it. Did it in one. Perfect. Absolutely nailed it. Alright, stick around to the very end, everybody. Also do a bit of a closing bit we do right after every stream, so that way the vampires in our chat can keep watching. So the daywalkers in our chat can keep watching. Just everybody else out there, make sure to go lock your doors and windows. It's almost it's almost dinner time for daywalkers. And thank you for joining, everybody. Hope you had a good time and you enjoyed the show. If you're able to join the live show, thank you for stopping by and chatting and watching. If you're watching this in the future, thank you for taking the time to go back and rewatching the VOD. We appreciate it. If you're out there and you enjoyed this and you want to see more of what we're up to, I recommend scrolling down below and following or clicking any of the links. There's a link to an Instagram, a Facebook, a Twitter, and a Discord. We post when we go live on any one of those platforms, as well as anything else that we're up to, and just generally come hang out with the rest of the community there. It's a good time on the Discord. Speaking of which, a shout out to our community on there and everyone who follows. You guys are a wonderful audience and we appreciate you. If we do anything particularly entertaining or noteworthy, feel free to clip it and share it on the internet. Just make sure to also hashtag with MCCanary or link it back to the stream so people can find more of the good stuff we do here. If you want to see the stream grow, you gotta let people know. I appreciate that people have been talking about the stream, and I encourage you guys to do it more. It does help us out, and it's just super rad that people have been willing to do that. So go tell people about the stream. Go tell your friends about the stream. I won't. And as always, a huge thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon, Coffee, and Twitch. Your generosity allows us to continue to expand the stream as well as take on more projects, and the stream would not be made possible without viewers like you. So we thank you. If you want to see your name added to this list, as well as a couple other benefits you could get, you can always subscribe directly on Twitch or check out the Patreon page in Coffee here. It'll show you everything that you can get, and any amount is always appreciated. Once again, thank you. And thank you to our mods doing a wonderful job pulling back the Roman army and becoming famous. Thank you for everybody coming and hanging out. Had a good time. I've got some progress. I got more progress. I think, like, this month, this is the planned month. This month, I want, like, at least one or two more of just as much goddamn concept art as I can come up with. Just like, I'm busting out 3 a session, and then I'm making more on my own, and that's what matters. Is like, I want a background, I want character design art, and I want creature design art every stream, no matter what. That is something I want to be able to do and keep up on. And we're doing it. Alright, I'll get you through housekeeping and get you on your way. Check out the rest of our friends in Goblin Entertainment here. That link tree has links to everyone's channels and everything that they've done and they've been up to, and the rest of my stuff, which is here in this link tree. That is everything that I post to. So you should go check everybody out in Goblin Entertainment. And stick around, we'll go say hi to Cooter. He's a good guy, he's a good friend. He's a good dude. I'm gonna go say hi to him. Be nice. He just started. So stick around for that. Otherwise, have yourselves a good evening. Take it easy. And remember, sometimes The cool hat is the hat that you think is gonna look stupid, and then it actually ends up looking pretty cool. This is why I don't like this design. It looks stupid. Look at how dumb it looks. Who puts a fishbowl on their head? Who goes into space and says, I take a fishbowl? I have bad news, people. Fishbowls kinda suck. In real life. They're not even barely good for fish. They're okay. Depends on the fishbowl. How you keep it. What you keep in it. How often you clean its water.